I love it. So before we get into your specific design and type and how you operate, I first want to introduce you to this study, which actually puts together, based on your point of birth, the very specific time, the date, and the very specific location that you have chosen to be born, the very precise area. It's putting together 8 different sciences, okay, to explain to you the very nature of your being. So what it does is put together astrology, astronomy, I Ching, the chakras, the tree of life from the Zohar Kabbalistic tradition, quantum mechanics, genetics, and biochemistry. So I want you to understand that this is the most extensive reading of an individual understanding themselves, yourself to the fullest from the inside out that you could ever receive, because it puts together all the studies. Okay, so it uses something called the body graph. It's a graph that explains to you what you truly are, what things that come through you that are actually you, and what you are receiving from the outside world that is not you. So before I get into the graph that expands into a 64 hexagram mandala, I want to talk briefly about these 8 components, because this is an 8-in-1 study. So astrology, most of you know, it involves the forecasting of earthly and human events through the observation and interpretation of the stars, right? The sun, the moon, and the planets. Okay, so start to think of everything as inside out. Astronomy is that study of everything in the universe that's beyond the Earth's sphere, that includes objects we can see with our naked eye, like the sun, like the moon, like the planets, like the stars. Okay, so the third aspect of this is the I Ching, and some of you may not be familiar with this, and it literally translates in Chinese to the Book of Change. And this is a source from the Taoist philosophy. And the Chinese have been using this for 5,000 years. So the I Ching has been used and relied upon in decision-making and actually predicting the future. So the answers and advice that you obtain from the I Ching is referenced to 64 points of a hexagram. Each of the 64 possibilities, it sets a correspondence on its hexagram and can be explained of what it means based on the I Ching. So the hexagram is arranged in an order, and the interpretation provides guidance on moral decision-making, such as understanding yin and yang, the balance of the feminine, masculine, the flow, and the structure. Okay. The next study it puts together is the chakras, which are the spinning wheels of energy, vortexes that are in our bodies, okay? It refers to the centers and the saddle anatomy of the human being, with each center corresponding to a different level of consciousness. Okay, it also puts together the tree of life, as I mentioned, that's used in the Kabbalah. So it usually consists of 10 or 11 nodes that symbolize different archetypes and 22 different lines connecting the nodes. So the nodes are arranged in 3 columns representing categories. And the nodes are usually represented by spheres, and there are lines that connect them, showing the path of human consciousness. Okay, so the lines usually represent the relationship and the concept. And then the nodes represent the deities, the angels, the celestial bodies, the values. Okay, so the columns symbolize the pillars, and the pillars represent different kinds of values, electric charges, and types of ceremonial magic. So in the Jewish Kabbalah, the nodes are called the Sefirot. And the diagram is derivable from the flower of life. So as you ascend the Sefirot, you go from, just like Maslow's hierarchy, from the bottom, which is the earth, which is the world physical, going up to the moon, which is the astral matrix, going up to the universal structure, the mathematics, the physics, the Mercury, going up to the Venus, which is the attraction forces, the gravity, the electromagnetism, going up to the sun, which is the center, the balance, the beginning, and the individuation, going up to Mars, beginning of force and motion in time and space, going up to Jupiter, beginning of time, space, going up to Saturn, which is the mother, the limitations, the womb of creation, going up to the father, the zodiac, the expansion, the free flow of creation, and arriving at the crown. Okay, the very top, the whole universe, the unity. So this is the process that we go in that tree of life from 10 to 1. We're going from the earth to the unity of it all, to understanding the one consciousness, right? So we're going from the kingdom to the foundation, to the splendor, to the victory, to the beauty, to the severity, to the mercy, to the understanding, to the wisdom, to the crown, the oneness, the unity. Okay, it also encompasses the quantum mechanics, as I mentioned earlier, and that's a fundamental theory in physics that provides a description of the physical properties of nature at the scale of atoms and subatomic particles. It's the foundation of all quantum physics, including quantum chemistry, quantum field theory, quantum technology, and quantum information science. Okay, the human design also puts together genetics, the study of your genes and heredity. Heredity is the passing of genes and information traits from one parent to an offspring. And there are 64 numbers or gates of energy that are shown on your life chart, which the human design shows you. So there are 64 numbers, and those 64 numbers represent gates of energy that are shown on your life chart, with each of the 9 geometric shapes that show you the body and what you have access to, what is truly yours and what you get from other people. Okay, so those 64 gates on the hexagram, they carry their unique archetypal energy. Okay, and we all have very unique energy that we bring here, very unique gifts because of individual gates that are lit up. Okay, so the 64 gates of energy can be directly correlated as the energetic frequency level with the 64 codons within your DNA strands. And within each center, there are gates. Okay, and the gates can be seen as an entry and an exit point that establish the flow of communication between centers. A gate that is activated by a planet, which means it's colored in, describes a consistent theme or role in your life. So when we go through your individual body graph, the centers that are lit up on the body graph for you based on your time of birth, space, time that you were incarnated into physical body, the centers that are colored in means you have consistent energy. Like these areas you can rely on because they're truly you. The ones that are not colored in for you, that's information you receive from the environment. So a lot of the things that we thought that were us our whole life may not have been us, may have just been projections, things that we receive from the environment that we thought were us, for us. Does that make sense? So it also, as I mentioned, puts together biochemistry, which is biological chemistry, and that's the study of the chemical process within and relating to living organism. It's a subdiscipline of both the chemistry and biology. So biochemistry may be divided into 3 fields, which is the structural biology, enzymology, and metabolism. Why did I go down this path of explaining these 8 concepts right now? Because I want you to understand how precise and accurate the study is to help you understand who you are and how you interact with the outside world from the inside out. Because once you understand how truly potent this study and information is, you'll realize that you don't need any other study to help you understand how to live your most fulfilling life, both in personal and business, with ease and grace. So now it's 8 in 1. It puts together astrology, astronomy, I Ching, chakras, tree of life from Zohar Kabbalistic tradition, quantum mechanics, genetics, biochemistry, into this 64 hexagram mandala that expands out of your body graph. I want you to understand how incredible this is, that we are able to understand who you are from the inside out based on all these variables. So welcome to the most potent, transformational course, activation, shift to be able to understand yourself from the inside out, so you stop all self-sabotage for the rest of your life, because you begin to understand the mechanics of what it truly means to be you, alive at this very moment. Okay? So you may need to listen to this a couple of times. Don't worry if you don't know the terminology. That's not a big deal. I just wanted to show you how extensive this is, how incredible this is, and how when you understand that this is the truth of who you are, then you start operating that way, and the self-sabotage no longer exists because you operate more and more as yourself. Okay? I'll see you all in the next session. Thank you so much for doing this beautiful work.